Mama. Welcome to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Michelle Gibbs, and this podcast exists to help scholarly mamas like you to achieve your life and academic goals without sacrificing what matters most. Here, we're changing the overwhelm, juggle, struggle narrative around what it means to be a mama on an academic journey to one of empowerment, fulfillment, and purposeful success. So how do we successfully navigate these journeys? Well, first, we need the space to embrace this unique blend. Let's begin by saying yes to creating a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside, because that's when we truly become purposefully whole. So get ready for the most non-traditional, unconventional, and revolutionary approach to PhD motherhood, because one thing I have learned over my many years of experience on this journey is that if you want something different, you have to do something different. But you must be brave enough to think differently first. So, Mama, are you in? Fabulous. Let's begin. These are our journeys of becoming. I cannot finish this literature review. I cannot juggle childcare and research and all the things and all the hats. I can't even seem to make my supervisor satisfied. Does it sound familiar? Now just add one tiny word to each of these statements. Yet. To the brilliant mama sitting in your car right now, probably parked in the nursery's car park, frantically reviewing research papers on your phone while waiting for pickup time. To the determined mama who's typing her thesis with one hand while feeding your baby at 3 a.m. To the mama who's in tears over the fact that she had grand plans for this week, but instead all she's done is cuddle her sick little ones in bed because they need her. This episode is for you. Hey mama, welcome back to the podcast. Today we are diving into the power of yet, where we transform those heavy I can't statements that have been weighing you down into powerful I can't yet declarations. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so happy to have you here. As always, I know you could be doing so many other things and you've chosen to tune into this podcast. And I don't take that for granted for one bit. I am so grateful to have you here. In today's episode, I want to talk about the power of yet because it was something that I recently rediscovered, if you will, in preparation for a teaching session I'm preparing for. I came across this video. It was shared with me by a colleague, and I was reminded of really the importance of having a growth mindset, even as a scholarly mama. This is not just for kids. And this is definitely not something that I was taught growing up. This is something that I had to learn through experience, through multiple, failures and the not yets, right? Having to go through that and live those experiences and remind myself that just because I haven't done something or just because I haven't achieved something, it doesn't mean I never will. It just means that I am on a journey of learning and personal growth. And so let's start with some of the fascinating research about mindset, because if there's one thing that I know we as scholarly mums love, it's evidence-based approaches, right? And so Dr. Carol Dweck, she actually was the person who was delivering this TEDx talk, which was shared with me by my colleague. It's a YouTube video. I will link it in the show notes so that you can watch it yourself. But basically, she was sharing some groundbreaking at the time work on growth mindset. The data is quite old, the video is quite old, but it's still really powerful. And really what she showed us was that adding yet to our self-talk literally rewires our brain's response to challenges. So think about it. When you say, I can't manage time effectively, your brain accepts this as fact. Because remember, I said this before, your brain's job is to make your thoughts real. So if you say, I can't manage my time effectively, your brain will take that as fact, right? But when you say, I can't manage my time effectively yet, you have created a pathway for growth. You've created opportunity for development, for learning, for growth. You've given yourself permission to be in progress, to be on the path to achieving that goal. And this is one of the reasons why I actually shared this video with my sons. I wanted them to hear from the researcher's mouth about the power of yet. It's something that my husband and I, have been sharing with them and encouraging them along the way. That was part of the motivation for Doodle Dozen, my children's book series. And I really wanted to not just inspire their creativity and not just, show them that growth happens beyond the comfort zone, but I really wanted them to appreciate the power of yet. So for example, in some of the assessments that I'm a part of, assessing student practical examinations, one of the things that we have started to do within those assessments is to assess students as being competent or as not yet competent. So not saying pass or fail, but replacing that with competent or not yet competent. And I think that's really an important distinction to make, because really what that does is it removes this absolute of the word failure. Not to say that we can't ever use that word, but it removes that absolute feeling that comes with pass or fail. Replacing that with not yet competent really helps that student to process the fact that they're on a journey of learning. They're on a journey of working at the skill, developing the skill and improving the skill and getting better at it. So it really just opens up the realm of possibility for them and creates an environment where their potential can be realized. And so let's talk about why this is particularly powerful for scholarly mamas. So we are dealing with a unique combination of pressures here. We are dealing with academic deadlines, we are dealing with family responsibilities, and quite often a hefty dose of imposter syndrome, right? We are also juggling potentially a career, work life, all of the above. And when I'm thinking about all the hats that we wear as scholarly mamas, I remember sitting one night, I was working on my thesis, surrounded by all my papers and all the things, and literally having the longest to-do list for the kids, all the things I had to do. And I remember crying to my husband. I mean, I had many occasions like this, this was not a one-off. Let me just say, this was not a one-off. I had several of these nights where I was just thinking, I cannot do this. I cannot possibly finish this PhD. But that yet mindset really shifted things for me, recognizing that I wasn't yet at the point where I was finished or I was on the brink of completion. But it meant that by saying yet, it kept the possibility of achieving the goal open. And most importantly, it kept my mind open to that possibility of achieving my goal. It wasn't about being perfect in all the things I was juggling. That was not the goal. It was about growing into the scholar and the mama that I knew within myself I could become. It was becoming a scholarly mama. And so that was really a turning point for me on my journey, recognizing that when I tell my brain that the realm of possibility is still there for me to achieve this goal, it is still possible for me to reach this goal, I'm not there yet, keeping my motivation up, keeping my hopes up, keeping my self-belief, all of those things became so much easier because now I was not working in absolutes. It wasn't a no, I am absolutely not going to achieve this, especially if I'm not perfect. No, it removed all of those absolutes and it opened my mind, opened the possibility, opened the reality that this could be possible for me. And so I invite you to embrace this power of yet. Really think about, in your quiet moments, how are you communicating with yourself about your goals? How are you talking to yourself when no one else is looking? How are you communicating with your inner self about what is possible for you? I invite you to really tap into the power of yet. And so again, I really wanted to offer you some practical tips for how you can actually implement this power of yet into your scholarly mama journey now. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. How can you incorporate this into your thinking around your goals and whether or not you can achieve them? And so the first actionable step is really to start tracking those I can't statements. Write them down, right? Write down all the thoughts you have about the I can't achieve this, I can't juggle this, I can't do this, I am not this, I'm not that. Whatever those statements are, write them down. And then I want you to add yet to them. Add yet to each one of those statements. How does it change your thinking about the thing that you've written down? Brainstorm one small step to making that thing possible. One step to taking you closer to that new yet goal. What is one little tiny baby step that you can take today, that you can take right now, that is going to take you in the direction of your goal? Whether that's completing your PhD, whether that's doing something with the kids, whether that's showing up with the kids, being present with the kids, whatever that big idea and big goal is, what is one tiny step that you can take towards that? Write that down. The second thing I want you to do is to take some time to reflect. Map out your journey so far. What has your scholarly mama journey been like? Notice how many things you thought you could never do. And those things are now part of your daily routine, right? I never thought I could even take this podcast more than probably 3 episodes. I am now 18 months in. I was able to start this podcast while I was writing my thesis, while I was working. I was in a very stressful job, all of the above. And I was able to make time for something that was purposeful, right? That could easily have been an I can't, I'm juggling so many things. I have no time, And yet I made it possible. So notice how many of those things that you thought you could never do are now part of your daily, weekly, monthly routine. Really reflect on those things, because focusing on those things that you have achieved that you never thought you could have really illuminates how much growth you have had on your journey. You are likely not the same person that you were 2, 3, 5 years ago. What has changed? What have you managed to do? What are you now able to do regularly that you couldn't do before or you thought you'd never be able to do? Write those things down. The third actionable step I want you to do is join a community like Scholarly Mamas and share your yet goals with other scholarly mamas. Invite witnesses to your growth journey, because that will amplify your commitment to achieving those goals. Don't just keep it within. Don't just write it down. Actually share it with other people. Create some accountability for yourself by sharing these new yet goals with your scholarly mama friends. By taking these practical steps, it will help you to not just embrace and embody this power of yet, but to actually take action towards the goal. Do you want to show up for your thesis, 1 day a week for 4 hours, for example? Do you want to commit to a routine of writing 15 minutes a day? Do you want to develop a new habit, a new health habit, a new well-being routine? What is the yet goal? Where are you aiming to go? You've not arrived there yet, but where can you encourage growth? That power of yet changes everything. And so now I wanted to just mention some of the common obstacles that you may encounter when you are trying to create this new way of thinking, right? This power of yet. You're trying to embrace this new power of yet. There are going to be some obstacles. Every time we try to change things, we try to do something new, our brain will always try and tell us otherwise. You always create these thoughts that aren't real, and it's our job to speak to these things so that we can think thoughts which help us to get closer to our goals. So for example, maybe you've been working at this chapter for ages and going nowhere, just feeling stuck. You don't even want to face it. The climb is too steep. It just feels like you have to go from zero to hero, which we all know isn't possible. So you say to yourself, but I've been stuck for months. I am going nowhere fast here. Remember, mama, that being stuck is not a permanent state. This is just one little stop on the way to the goal, right? If you are thinking about this as a car journey, this is one little stop. My husband and my dad, they love Formula One racing. I do too, to be honest. I like to watch it as well. And this is just a little pit stop, right? Doesn't mean that you are not on your way to the goal. This is just a little stop along the way. Maybe you're saying, well, my circumstances are different. You know, I've got a situation here. I can't really think about power of yet right now. I'm really genuinely not that thing. I would say to you, yes, every journey is unique. That is true, right? But this whole concept of the power of yet can be applied to anyone, can be applied to any situation. This can be applied to kids. My kids watched a video and suddenly they started thinking about how it applies to their lives. And if they can do that as kids, we can do that as scholarly mamas. This isn't about this isn't circumstantial. This is about your thinking and how you can create thoughts that serve your bigger goals. And so just really to bring this episode to a close, I really just want you to remember that as a scholarly mama, you're not just working on a PhD, you're not just working on a doctorate, you're showing your kids what persistence looks like, you're showing them what ambition looks like, you are showing them what self-love looks like. So you're not just writing a thesis, you're writing a new story about what's possible for you as a scholarly mama. And if you're thinking, I can't do this by myself, I can't do this alone, I want you to add yet to that statement, right? I want you to add yet to that statement. I can't do this alone yet. Because now you've got the opportunity to do something about this. Let me tell you about how we can work together. If you want to transform your PhD journey, if you want to do your PhD well without sacrificing the people you love, but you want to see it through to completion, I want to offer you one-on-one coaching specifically for scholarly mamas who are ready to move from the I can't to the I can and I will, because they believe in the power of yet. Simply head over to mrsmummyphd.com/coaching to schedule your complimentary call. Together, we will create a customized roadmap for your PhD completion that honors both your academic goals and your family life. Remember that you are not just working towards a doctorate here, you are literally trailblazing for every mama who dreams of pursuing her highest academic aspirations, right? These are big, lofty goals. I get it. I have them too. But just because it's hard, it doesn't mean it's impossible. It means that you're not there yet, but you can get there, right? And if you can't see that whole path ahead of you, you know what to add to that statement. You know, we've talked about it the entire episode, the power of yet. A tiny word with a lot of power, yet. I want to encourage you this week to add yet to these thoughts that come up, making you think you can't do this, you can't do that. Try adding yet to these statements and see how that changes the game for you. I just wanted to remind you, you are closer than you think to achieving your goal. It's all in the power of yet. So until next time, Mama, thank you for tuning in. Please do share this episode with another scholarly mama you know who could benefit from hearing about the power of yet. And again, I'll leave the link to the TEDx talk in the show notes. Until next time, I'm sending you so much love and so much gratitude as always. Take care, Mama. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and if you did and you want in on this movement, please head over to mrsmummyphd.com or scholarlymamas.com. If you want to do your PhD well without sacrificing yourself or those you love dearest, then you need your hands on my free training called the PhD with Purpose Webinar. When you join us inside Scholarly Mamas Explore, you'll get access to this free training and so much more. Remember, Mama, these are our journeys of becoming.